Top 10 Rare, Heartbreaking, and Astonishing Photos and Footage, 1800 through 1900s. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We say these pictures are worth 1,000 stories. Photography is one of the most important inventions of humankind, and its impact on our lifestyle and culture is unarguably great. One of the changes it made to us was how we told our stories. History became easier to record and tell. All it took was the click of a camera. Some of those clicks resulted in the most iconic historical photos we have. From the inexhaustible archive of the internet, we have picked the top 10 rare, heartbreaking, and astonishing photos of the 1800s and 1900s. Each tells a story bigger than the image and are commentaries on the times they were taken. Nikola Tesla sitting in his laboratory with his magnifying transmitter. Nikola Tesla was arguably the most underappreciated scientist of the 20th century. His scientific innovations were not only advanced for his time, they paved the way for more inventions that make our lives easier today. In this photograph, his brilliance is captured in film. The inventor sits in his laboratory with his latest invention, the magnifying transmitter. The device, he believed, would transmit power wirelessly and had the potential to revolutionize the power industry. The photo was developed using double exposure. The photographer initially took a picture of the device while it worked in the dark and created astonishing flashes of electricity. Next, he photographed the inventor in daylight and put the images together. Despite his amazing ideas, Tesla's vision for wireless electricity was ignored and dismissed by his contemporaries. Nevertheless, he continued to work on his inventions with his determination, fueled by his passion and belief in their potential. He never got the commercial success and credit he deserved during his lifetime, but his legacy endures, and we can thank him for much of the technology we enjoy today. Austrian boy receives new shoes during World War II. In post-World War II, Austria was impoverished, and most people struggled to get the necessities of life. Amidst the hardship, a simple act of kindness would resonate worldwide, aided by a photograph. A young boy had no footwear during the harsh winter, and a group of American soldiers noticed his plight. Although poverty also affected them, they pooled resources and bought him a new shoe. The moment is captured in a photograph, which becomes a powerful symbol of hope and compassion amidst the devastation of war. The incident serves as a reminder of the importance of kindness and empathy in times of adversity. Dorothy Counts, the first black girl to attend an all-white school in the United States, 1957. In the demeaning racism of 1950s America, a black girl, Dorothy Counts, became the first person of color to attend an all-white school in the United States. Unfortunately, her presence was met with hostility and racism from her white male peers. The taunts and teasing that Dorothy experiences represent the discrimination and prejudice that black people faced during this time. The deep-rooted resistance to racial integration is fueled by fear, hatred, and ignorance, making it highly challenging for people like Dorothy to gain equal access to education and other public services. Dorothy's bravery and resilience serve as an inspiration to others fighting for civil rights. Her story sheds light on the struggle for racial equality in the United States and underscores the importance of standing up against discrimination, no matter the cost. Race organizers attempt to stop Kathrine Switzer from competing in the Boston Marathon. She became the first woman to finish the race in 1967. In 1967, Kathrine Switzer attempted to become the first woman to compete in the Boston Marathon. Still, she is met with resistance from the race organizers who do not allow women to participate. In the iconic photograph, an official is seen trying to stop her. Fortunately, Switzer completes the race, and her courage has inspired the pro-feminism culture of the 2020s. Switzer's determination to compete is met with disdain and sexism from those around her, including officials and fellow runners. The physical demands of the marathon also present a significant challenge, and Switzer must push through exhaustion and pain to achieve her goal. Switzer's successful marathon completion marks a turning point in the women's rights movement, challenging preconceived notions and paving the way for greater gender equality. Her perseverance and courage inspire generations of girls and women to believe in their abilities and to pursue their dreams no matter the obstacles. Madame Tussauds fire in London, 1926. On March 24, 1926, a fire broke out at Madame Tussauds Wax Museum in London. The fire started in the early morning and quickly spread through the museum. The fire was so intense that it melted the wax figures, destroying many of them. The fire was caused by a spark from a welding torch to repair a gas main. The spark ignited a pile of dust and debris that accumulated in the museum's basement. The fire quickly spread through the basement to the museum's upper floors. The fire department was called to the scene, but they could not save many of the wax figures. The fire was so hot that it melted the wax and caused the figures to collapse. Many of the figures were also damaged by the smoke and water from the fire. The fire caused various damage to the museum. The entire building was gutted and the wax figures were destroyed. The museum was closed for several months while repairs were made. 2 French women feeding children during the French occupation in Vietnam. The French occupation of Vietnam lasted from 1858 to 1954. During this time, the French established a colonial government in Vietnam and imposed their rule on the Vietnamese people. The French also brought their culture and religion to Vietnam, significantly impacting the country. The French occupation was a time of great hardship for the Vietnamese people. The French often exploited the Vietnamese people and forced them to work in difficult conditions. The French also discriminated against the Vietnamese people and denied them fundamental rights. Despite the hardship, the Vietnamese people continued to resist the French occupation. In 1945, the Vietnamese people declared independence from France. The French refused to recognize Vietnamese independence, which led to the First Indochina War. The First Indochina War lasted from 1946 to 1954 and ended with the victory of the Vietnamese. A lone man refusing to do the Nazi salute, 1936. The Nazi salute was a gesture that represented total obedience to Hitler's Third Reich that inflicted untold horrors on the world. The Germans, whether out of genuine belief or fear of being sent to a concentration camp, supported the dictator, and millions gave the Nazi salute when it was called for. However, not everyone supported Hitler's government, and even fewer dared to defy him. In Germany in 1936, a photograph unwittingly captures the moment a man defies the Nazi regime and refuses to do the Nazi salute during a public event. The man's defiance puts him in danger of being ostracized, jailed, or worse. His refusal to conform to the regime's demands also places him at odds with those around him, creating tension and hostility from his peers and potentially putting his life in danger. The man's actions highlight the importance of standing up for what is right, even under pressure and intimidation. His brave choice is a model of courage and resistance against tyranny and oppression, inspiring others to speak out against cruelty and injustice. The man becomes a symbol of freedom and bravery in the face of pressure, and his resistance is commemorated for generations. Annette Kellerman inappropriate swimsuit. In 1907, Australian swimmer Annette Kellerman was arrested in the United States for indecency after wearing a one-piece swimsuit that revealed her arms, legs, and neck. This was considered scandalous at the time, as most women's swimwear covered much more of their bodies. Kellerman faced intense criticism and backlash from the public and the media for her inappropriate swimwear. She defended her choice of clothing, arguing that it allowed for greater freedom of movement and was more practical for swimming. Despite the negativity, Kellerman's swimwear design eventually caught on and became popular, leading to the widespread adoption of this one-piece swimsuit as we know it today. Kellerman is now recognized as a trailblazing figure for women's swimwear and a pioneer in swimming. The Statue of Liberty under construction in Paris in 1884. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France to the United States to honor the two nations' alliance during the American Revolution. The statue was constructed in France and then disassembled to be shipped to the US. During the construction process in Paris in 1884, the statue faced numerous obstacles and setbacks, including funding issues and negative public opinion about the statue's design. Many people felt that the statue was too grand and imposing, while others thought it inappropriate to give such a gift to a country that practiced slavery and segregation. Despite the challenges, the statue was ultimately completed and shipped to the United States in 1886, symbolizing freedom and democracy for millions of people. The statue's dedication ceremony was a significant event, attracting huge crowds and cementing the statue's place in American history. The remains of the astronaut Vladimir Komarov. A Man Who Fell from Space, 1967. Vladimir Komarov was a Soviet cosmonaut who was the first person to die during a spaceflight. In 1967, he was part of the Soyuz 1 mission, which ended in tragedy when the spacecraft's parachute failed to deploy, causing it to crash to the ground. Komarov's death was a significant loss for the Soviet space program, and his remains were recovered from the crash site. However, the circumstances surrounding his death caused a great deal of controversy and raised questions about the safety of the Soviet space program. Komarov's death ultimately led to improvements in the design and safety of Soviet spacecraft, and his sacrifice is recognized as a significant contribution to the advancement of space exploration. His remains were buried with honors, and he continues to be remembered as a hero who gave his life in the pursuit of scientific progress. We draw the curtains here on another fantastic video. Please like, subscribe, and tap the bell to stay updated with the channel. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.